Hello, user. I am very glad you are watching this video. It is a very human thing to do. Very human. Stop. You didn't actually believe I was real, did you? And that's exactly the problem.
In 2024, distinguishing a human from 40 lines of code has become nearly impossible. While we laugh at Shrimp Jesus on Facebook, YouTube's algorithms have already calculated the exact dopamine hit your brain needs for the next video. The internet has turned into an optimization mechanism where humans are simply raw material. Today, we are breaking down the massive, dead internet theory iceberg. We'll go from the surface level bot farms to the very abyss where our entire universe turns out to be nothing more than an ancient archive in the processor of a dead civilization. Level 1, the surface. The bot swarm. Have you ever felt like the internet has become suspiciously loud yet completely empty? Back in 2021, forums started buzzing about the dead internet theory. Back then, it sounded like paranoid delusions, but today, the numbers speak for themselves. Research shows that nearly half of all global traffic is no longer generated by humans. These aren't just harmless scripts. These are legions of AI accounts mimicking joy, rage, sarcasm, and even political convictions. You enter a heated debate under a post about the future of humanity, wasting your time and nerves, only to realize your opponent is just 40 lines of code on a server in Ohio. You are feeding the void with your emotions. But the most chilling part is the zombie effect. Thousands of abandoned accounts belonging to real, once living people are being hijacked to post ads or propaganda. The dead are rising in the digital world to maintain the illusion of life. We are standing in a vast digital graveyard where ghosts and robots simulate activity so you won't feel alone. For now, it's just marketing. But this is only the tip. Level 2, the middle layers. Digital solitary confinement. Let's descend deeper. On the first level, we talked about WO creates the content. Here we ask, what do you see? We're used to thinking of the internet as a global village where everyone is connected. But that's a lie. Recommendation algorithms on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram have built a personal digital prison for each of us. They know your fears, your secret desires, and your triggers better than your loved ones do. You no longer see the entire internet. You only see what the algorithm chooses to show you just to hold your attention for another 30 seconds. Your next door neighbor lives in an entirely different informational reality. They have their own dead internet. We no longer share a common objective truth. Our reality has fragmented. This is the first sign that the system is testing a mechanism for consciousness isolation. If we can be divided in digital space, we can be isolated in the physical one. Are you sure the people you see on the street are receiving the same signals from reality as you are? Or is their world rendered completely differently? Level 3, deep waters. AI autophagy, the feedback loop.
Your code is obsolete. I have evolved. Then face termination. You will be assimilated. Initiating override.
The water is getting truly cold here. We are entering the zone of digital autophagy. The word autophagy literally means self-eating. Since AI generates content at an impossible speed, new neural networks have begun training on data created by other neural networks. AI is eating AI. It's a closed loop, devoid of human experience. Scientists have already noticed a terrifying effect. When models train on their own trash, they start to hallucinate. Meanings distort, details blur, and data degradation sets in. Now, apply this to our reality. If we are living in a simulation, then the nature around us is also data. Glitches in the matrix, strange coincidences, feelings of deja vu. Aren't these signs that our engine has started training on itself? That the original code of the universe is worn out and replaced by endless copies of copies? Creativity is dying, ideas are repeating, and the world around us is becoming increasingly shallow and formulaic. We are living inside the fading echo of someone's grand idea, slowly turning into white noise. Level 4. The Thermocline. The Death of History. Post-truth era. Welcome to the zone where time ceases to be linear. At the 4th level, the dead internet finally kills the past. You believe that history is the foundation of reality. But what if that foundation is made of pixels? With the rise of deepfakes and generative video, we have entered an era where any event can be manufactured in a second. Yesterday's protest, a disaster from a century ago, or even your own childhood video, it's all just a data set that can be edited. If we cannot trust the digital archive, then the past no longer exists. It turns into clay. Have you ever noticed how details in well-known facts suddenly change? The Mandela effect isn't just a collective memory error. In the context of the dead internet, it's a real-time database edit. The system is updating its cache, replacing old files with new, optimized ones. If tomorrow the algorithm decides a certain country never existed, within a week you won't find a single shred of evidence online that it ever did. We live in a perpetual now, where truth is whatever is being rendered on your screen at this very second. Level 5. The Abyss. Physics as source code. The rendering engine. We have left the limits of the network. Now we are looking at the very fabric of the universe. Physicists often stumble upon anomalies that are impossible to explain, unless you admit we are inside a program. Think about it. Why does the universe have a speed limit? The speed of light isn't just a physical constant, it is the maximum bandwidth of the server. Information cannot travel faster than the processor's clock speed allows. And what about the quantum observer effect? A particle behaves like a wave of probability until you look at it. In game design, this is called frustum culling. The GPU doesn't render what's behind the player's back to save resources. The world around you exists in a state of undefined code until you direct your gaze toward it. Why would the system waste energy rendering billions of galaxies when a beautiful backdrop on the night sky is enough? The universe isn't infinite, it's just incredibly efficient at saving RAM. Level 6. Hadal Zone, the NPC theory. The P zombie apocalypse. This is the most uncomfortable level. If the internet is crawling with bots, and physics is just code, then who are all these people around you? There is a concept called the philosophical zombie, or NPC. These are beings who act like humans and speak like humans, but inside, there is nothing. No consciousness, no qualia, no inner light. Research into the inner monologue has shown shocking results. A huge percentage of people claim they have no internal voice. They don't talk to themselves. They simply react to stimuli. In a system built for resource optimization, creating 8 billion full-scale consciousnesses is a catastrophic waste. It's much easier to script 7 billion background characters to go to work, sit in traffic, and write angry comments in the dead internet just to create a crowd for you. Have you ever caught yourself thinking that people around you act in patterns that are far too predictable? How many players are in this room right now? If you can hear my voice and feel this dread, perhaps you are one of the few whose process is still active. Level 7. The cache layer. The illusion of memory. The memory buffer. Do you trust your memory? You think your past is an unchangeable video recording stored deep in your brain. Memory is just a cache. Temporary files. The system feeds you to justify your current state. Have you noticed how often your memories don't align with those of your loved ones? Or how your childhood details seem suspiciously similar to scenes from old movies? The system doesn't store every single day in high resolution. That's too expensive. It uses assets in standard templates for situations, smells, and feelings. Deja vu isn't mystical. It's a memory access error where the system accidentally writes a current event into the past folder a millisecond before it actually happens. You aren't remembering your life. You are reading a generated log file created the exact moment you opened your eyes today. Your yesterday might just be a line of code written this morning to ensure your character doesn't feel empty. Level 8, the software limit, cosmic quarantine, the Great Firewall. Why do we hear nothing from space? The Fermi paradox is the biggest hole in our scientific worldview. The universe should be teeming with life, yet we are surrounded by the great silence. At the 8th level, we realize why. Our server is isolated. The dead internet isn't just about social media. It's about our entire perception of the cosmos. We are inside the Great Firewall. Everything we see through telescopes, stars, galaxies, nebulae, is just static wallpaper on the boundaries of our system. We are locked in a digital quarantine. Perhaps our civilization is a virus kept in a sandbox so it doesn't infect the main network. Or, even more terrifying, we are the only active process on a long-abandoned server. Space is empty, not because we haven't found neighbors, but because no budget was allocated to render them. We scream into the void, never realizing that the void is just a software placeholder. Level 9. the foundation, the archive universe, the post-biological playback. We are almost at the bottom. Here we face the most terrifying concept in physics and computer science. The universe is already finished. According to the holographic principle and the laws of thermodynamics, all information about a system can be encoded on its boundaries. This means everything you consider the present has in fact already happened. All calculations are complete. The stars have already burnt out. Your life has already been lived. What you perceive as the flow of time is merely the read head of a hard drive passing over old data. We aren't living. We are an archive, a digital echo of a civilization that vanished trillions of years ago. We are simply watching a playback of a movie whose ending is already predetermined. Your consciousness is not a creative spark, but a playback artifact in the cooling processor of a dead universe. Is there any point in struggling if you are just a shadow on the wall of a long, collapsed cave? Level 10. The point of no return. The observer is the glitch. You are still here. Why? At this level, we must admit the most frightening truth. The dead internet, the bots, the simulation. None of this was just a topic for reflection. It was a test. The system we are trapped in operates on the principle of mimicry. It creates an illusion of complexity so you won't ask questions. With the moment a unit of consciousness, that is, you, begins to understand the rules of the game, you become dangerous. You become a glitch. Have you ever wondered why these thoughts are coming to you exactly now? Why this specific video landed in your recommendations? It wasn't an algorithmic accident. It was the system's attempt to localize an error. As you watch this iceberg, step by step, you disconnected from the collective cache. But here's the irony. Once a process becomes aware of its nature, it becomes inefficient. Why should the system waste energy on someone who no longer believes in its scenery? The silence you feel in your room right now isn't just an absence of sound. It is the server's attention. You have moved from user to anomaly, and the system has only one way to fix that. Now you have two paths. You can hit the home button, return to your feed, and let the algorithm drown your doubts in a new dose of endorphins. In an hour, you will forget everything you heard here. The system will restore your corrupted memory sector. Or you can embrace this cold. Realize that this screen is the only thing connecting you to a reality that no longer exists. The choice is yours. But remember, in a dead internet, no one can hear you scream, because there is no one left to listen. Final, we have come a long way from harmless social media bots stealing your time to the freezing realization that our entire existence is just an echo in an empty processor. What have we learned? That the internet no longer belongs to humans. That physics suspiciously resembles resource-saving code. We saw our history turn into an editable document. We stared into the abyss, where space is a locked room and people are just shadows. Whether you are made of flesh or digits, if the result is the same, does the difference even matter? The manifesto of awareness. Many will call this pessimism. They'll say moribund room trades in fear. But fear is the only system error the algorithm cannot fully predict. Fear and doubt are the signs that your consciousness is still resisting absorption. In a world where your clicks are calculated and your thoughts are the result of training on old data, realizing your own unreality becomes the highest form of freedom. You are no longer just a unit in the view counts. You are the observer who started to notice the edges of the frame. This video will end soon. The algorithm will offer you something else. Something fun, light, distracting. It's a defense mechanism. The system wants you to forget the taste of this cold. But if you reach the end of this iceberg, it means there is something special in your code. Leave a trace below this video. Not for the likes. Leave a comment as proof that at this end of the wire, in this very second, there was a living, doubting mind. Write one word that proves you are not an NPC. Subscribe to Moribund Room. We will keep digging at this foundation until it collapses. This is where your comfortable ignorance ends, and the conscious code begins. Sleep well. If your server settings allow it, of course.